Hello, and welcome to another episode of Lost in Suikoden Translation. This time, we'll be looking at instances where the localization didn't account for previous translators' decisions, leading to inconsistencies across the series or even within the same game. As usual, this series contains spoilers, so without further ado, let's get started. To use magic in the Suikoden world, you must acquire a sealed orb and take it to a special shop where it will be attached to your person. In Japanese, these individuals are called Rune Masters. The term combines the Japanese word for rune with shi, a suffix denoting expertise in a particular field. In the original Suikoden 1 and 2, this was translated as one word, Rune Master. In 3, it changed to Rune Sage. 4 and Tactics reverted to the original translation but split it into 2 words, Rune Master. 5 introduced gender-specific titles, calling Jean a Rune Mistress. And apparently, the remasters have returned to Rune Sage. The Sindar are a mysterious people who traveled across the Suikoden world from north to south, leaving ruins behind before suddenly vanishing. Their leader, cursed by the Rune of Change, doomed the tribe to wander until they found their eternal capital. Because they vanished long before the events of the games, the Sindar are primarily referenced in books and conversations about their ruins. Across the series, the spelling is consistent as Sindar, except in Suikoden 3, where it inexplicably changes to Sindar, with CY. Later games reverted to the original spelling, leaving 3 as the odd one out. In Suikoden 2, the localizers struggled to maintain consistency with the names of the Blight family. The Mad Prince is most commonly referred to as Luca Blight, but occasionally he is mistakenly called Luca Bright. Suikoden 3's localization would also accidentally change him from being king to emperor in the book retelling the events of the previous game. With Princess Gilia, they went a little further. In Japanese, her name is Jill, but the localizers decided to change it, possibly because they didn't like the name. Unfortunately, they couldn't always remember what they changed it to, and accidentally call her Jillian on occasion. And the latest addition to the Blight family didn't fare much better, as Joey's name also suffers from inconsistent spelling. In Suikoden 2, there's a village called Banaar, which leads to a mountain path called Banaar Pass. This path eventually takes you back to Gregminster from the first game. However, the area was actually mentioned in the original game, where Imperial soldiers threatened Mathieu by suggesting sending one of his pupils to work in the Banaar mines. Only here, it's spelled Banaar. In Japanese, there's no spelling difference between the village, pass, or mines. Kage is a character in the original Suikoden, but that isn't actually his name, it's his job. Kage is Japanese for shadow and refers to a Highland-based ninja organization that worked for the Blight family, but also took freelance jobs. After Highland's fall at the end of the Dunan Unification War, the Kage began working for the New Republic. However, one member, Watari, refused to switch allegiances and left the group. When Watari appears in Suikoden 3, the group's name is translated as Dark Wind, despite there not being any word meaning wind in the original Japanese. And because the localizers couldn't remember making this change, sometimes the game reverts back to calling them the Kage again. Gustav Pendragon is the mayor of Tinto in Suikoden 2, with his name spelled using a V. After the events of the game, Tinto forms its own republic with Gustaf as president. When his daughter Lily reappears in Suikoden 3 as a playable character, she mentions her father, but his name is now spelled with an F instead. Fan-favorite character Flik has several nicknames depending on the translation. In the original game, he's Lightning Flik. In 2, he becomes Flik of the Blue Lightning. In 3, he's known as Blue Bolt Flik. In Japanese, these are all the same name, though neither translation is particularly wrong. The original game omits the color for some reason. And there we have it for this episode of Lost in Suikoden Translation. We may revisit this topic later, as there are more instances of inconsistent localization than I can fit into one video. If we included enemy names, we'd be here for days. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.